What's up guys, Mickle here, and in this video I want to talk about some of the more shocking news I have seen in a very long time, and it actually completely changed my view on what Gary Gensler is trying to do to the cryptocurrency market. Now this is a take I have not seen yet. I think you guys are going to find it fascinating, and I think you guys are actually going to be pretty surprised about what just happened and how it completely changed my view of Gary Gensler. I also want to talk about towards the end of this video some massive Ripple and XRP news that literally no one is talking about. Right now there is so much FUD going around the XRP community, but behind the scenes there have been some game-changing developments. In this video I want to talk about that, so make sure to stick around for this whole thing. Like always, your support means so much to this channel. Make sure if you haven't already you like this video and subscribe to my channel. It's going to help me out so much. Also, if you ever need a good place to buy some XRP or the Flare token, make sure to check out my favorite exchange, Uphold, down in the description of this video. With that said though, let's jump right into it, and I hope you guys enjoy the content. So let's jump right into the video, and I want to start out with the shocking news, and that is that Gary Gensler and the SEC are now calling the Algorand token an unregistered security. Now, the reason why this was so shocking to me, and I'm going to show you guys the clip, but Gary Gensler used to work at MIT with the founder of Algorand, and Gary Gensler is on the record saying that Algorand is a fantastic technology. Now, my personal thought was that Gary Gensler was never going to go after Algorand. I didn't think Algorand ever had a chance of being called an unregistered security. Take a look at this clip, because I think you guys are going to fully understand why the fact that Gary Gensler is going after Algorand is absolutely shocking.
Governance is tough. You could create Uber or Lyft on top of a blockchain technology today. Well, maybe in 5 years you could. It would have the performance. Sylvia McCally's Algorand, who's a Turing Award winner at MIT that I work with. Sylvia's got a great technology that has the performance. You could create Uber on top of it. The question is then who would update the software?
So right here we see Gary Gensler talking about cryptocurrencies in a pretty bullish light, and specifically Algorand. Now what is so surprising is this is not the Gary Gensler we see today at all. This is the last thing he would ever say. Now Gary Gensler says, oh, crypto's not that useful, it's all speculation, there's very little real utility out there, and overall it's just non-compliant securities. Well, right here it looks like Gary Gensler is praising the technology. And specifically, he is saying Algorand is a fantastic technology. So why today is he calling it an illegal security? I never thought that would happen, and this was absolutely shocking to me. Now, there's a couple things we need to break down here. First, we need to understand that the Gary Gensler that was in the private sector prior to taking his position at the SEC was a completely different guy. I've shown a clip on my channel, I'm not going to show it today, multiple times of Gary Gensler in a Bloomberg interview, and the interviewer looks at Gary Gensler and says, who should regulate the cryptocurrency industry, the SEC or the CFTC? And his answer was, it doesn't matter. These cryptocurrencies just need to come into compliance, they need regulations. And at the time, I completely agreed with him. I was sitting there saying, does it really matter who regulates it, whether it's the SEC or the CFTC? As long as the rules allow the industry to prosper, it doesn't matter if you call it a security or commodity. They're just words. We just need regulations that allow these companies and cryptocurrency projects to grow in a safe and compliant manner. Gary Gensler's biggest problem at the SEC isn't calling these tokens securities. It's the fact that he's calling them securities and giving them zero way to come into compliance. It's a dead end. He's calling them securities and then saying, okay, well, it looks like you're screwed because you can't register with us. That's the biggest issue with what he's doing. Now, this is why it was so shocking to me that he actually went after Algorand, and it left me thinking of a critical question. Is Gary Gensler trying to kill cryptocurrencies, or is he really just trying to take control of them and put them under the SEC? Well, I actually asked John D in this specific question, and he thinks both are true. Now, what I think is actually happening behind the scenes here is Gary Gensler is going to allow certain projects to register with the SEC. We're just not at that point yet. But he's going to try to kill off all the projects that he doesn't like. But I think what's so fascinating is the fact that Gary Gensler obviously probably doesn't want to kill Algorand. There is no way he was talking like that in the private sector to go after one of his friend's projects. He's never going to go try to kill the Algorand Foundation. It's just not going to happen. So it looks like to Gary Gensler, based on my assessment, doesn't think calling one of these cryptocurrencies a security is necessarily a death sentence. What I think is happening is Gary Gensler's just not doing things in an order that logically makes sense. He's trying to call different token securities, and then I think he's going to go back in after the fact and create an actual way for them to register. Maybe he needs some direction from Congress. Maybe he needs something else. But it's so hard for me to believe that Gary Gensler is calling Algorand a security and actually trying to kill the project. And that's not me saying Gary Gensler's a good guy, it's actually the opposite. It's because he's MIT friends with the founder. It's just not something you do. It doesn't make sense for Gary Gensler to be attacking his friends in the private sector. If anything, he's the type of guy who would give him a backdoor free pass to our financial system. So to me, this kind of changes my perspective on what calling something a security does according to Gary Gensler. I think Gary Gensler actually thinks calling some of these token securities isn't a death sentence, and the main reason I think that is I don't think he wants to kill Algorand. And Jeremy Hogan actually asked a very interesting question in response to this, and I didn't really break this part down, so I'll explain it after the fact. Jeremy Hogan said, so he's suing Bittrex and not the Algorand Foundation. Why? So the SEC isn't actually suing Algo or the Algorand Foundation here. They're actually suing Bittrex, which is an exchange that traded Algo. So Jeremy Hogan is asking, why is the SEC going after Bittrex and not the Algorand Foundation? Well, the fact of the matter is, and this is obvious to me at this point, this is Gary Gensler's playbook, he doesn't want to have to fight the Algorand Foundation. They have a lot of money, and they're going to put up a fight against him. Bittrex, on the other hand, though, they're ready to leave the US. They are done here. They are so sick of the SEC. So what Gary Gensler did is on their way out of the US, he said, oh, you're trading illegal securities. Here are the illegal securities. Settle with us so we can say, oh, we won in court saying that these are illegal securities. You're not going to want to fight that decision. And then you can leave the US and we'll get the ruling we want. Gary Gensler knows that Bittrex isn't going to put up much of a fight, or at least not nearly as much of a fight as going after Algorand, and certainly not as much of a fight as going after every single token he alleged is a security in his filing against Bittrex. This is simple backdoor regulation. He is going after someone who's not going to fight and try to get other rulings as a consequence. Gary Gensler is trying to take control of the cryptocurrency industry through backdoor regulations like this. The biggest question for me going forward now is whether or not he is doing this to kill crypto or he is doing this to take control of it. My personal opinion now is that he is going to let some of these live. I do not see him killing Algo. I do not see him killing a project where he was friends with the founder back at MIT, where he is talking about the technology right here. In my opinion, Gary Gensler probably does understand the technology, but he is hardballing the industry right now. He probably wants to kill 98% of it. He wants to let 2%, the real projects, move on. Now, right now, his actions look like he wants to kill everything. Now, we're going to have to see how this plays out. But my prediction is that in the near future, Gary Gensler is going to be forced to provide a method for these different projects to actually come in and register, and I think we're going to find that he has a very short list of projects that actually meet what he wants to be a registered security. Now, I want to finish this video off and talk about something that I don't think gets nearly enough attention, and right now there's a lot of FUD around Ripple and XRP going around, and I think people really forget that Ripple is literally in meetings with the most powerful individuals, the most powerful institutions, the biggest banks in the entire world, and no other cryptocurrency company out there gets this kind of treatment. This was one of the most confusing things for me when I first started learning about Ripple and XRP. I was like, wow, this is some great technology. This is really cool. XRP is transformational. Ripple is this awesome company. But how are they meeting with central banks? How are they meeting with governments? I mean, I understand this technology is great, but these are not normal meetings you get as a small fintech company. These are the kinds of meetings that make people speculate about plans within plans. And what I show you right here is going to make you completely understand what I'm saying. This was tweeted out by DJ Peter Voss, and this is actually from a very recent article. It's talking about a government event that just took place in London. It says the event, which was attended by 126 central banks, the US Treasury Department, and experts from the digital finance sector, has named Ripple as the sole premium partner for this year's symposium. That is absolutely insane. We are seeing Ripple, a small fintech player, in meetings with 126 central banks and the US Treasury. This is not a normal company, and I think that's what people need to wrap their head around. Ripple is so deep in this upgrade to our financial system already, and some people are looking completely past this. It is absolutely insane to me that Ripple is in these discussions. This is something that you don't get invited to unless you've been around for 100, 200 years, and that's the kind of people Ripple is hanging out with right now. And if we just take a look at some comments made a little bit ago by the MasterCard CEO, the MasterCard CEO literally told us Swift may not be around in 5 years from now. Well, who's MasterCard a partner of? They are a partner of Ripple. Who else would be replacing Swift? Name me one other company out there doing anything close to what Swift is doing. There is only one person to pick from, that is Ripple, and their technology blows everything else out of the water. Just take a look at this, breaking up the monopoly of Swift. We are going to see this narrative playing out over the next couple years. We have the CEOs of the largest payment providers on earth saying Swift is going away. We are going to see the private sector create new innovation. If you don't think Ripple is meeting with these 126 central banks for a reason, I don't know what to tell you. They are clearly a different company. They are light years ahead of everyone else out there, and I think it's only a matter of time before that becomes obvious. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for coming. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to like and subscribe. It really does mean so much, and for now, Mickle out.